Coming up on tonight's episode of Living Ramadan, we speak to actor Sivan Ghazi and he gives us his perspective on Ramadan. We bring you a non-Muslim's perspective on Ramadan. Abdul Ghani Babu Foblonka provides us with an inspirational message. We speak to Mr. South Africa, Habib Noorbai, and find out more about his organization, the Humanitarians. We travel abroad to bring you a global Ramadan perspective. And at our location today, the Phoenix Masjid in Milnerton, we speak to Imam Hassan Walele. And we end with a musical interlude. Salam and welcome to episode 8 of Living Ramadan. I trust you've been having a wonderful fast today and looking forward to enjoying another beautiful episode of our show. Today we come to you from Masjid al-Juma, which is in the Phoenix area close to Milnerton, alongside the Joe Slovo settlement as well. The resident Imam here at this masjid is Imam Hassan Walele, and we'll be chatting to him a little bit later on during the show. We've got a jam-packed show filled with some beautiful inserts, and I'm hoping that you'll be enjoying it along with us today as well. The area that I'm standing in is the wudu khana of the current mosque structure, but many years ago, in 1995 in fact, that's when the start of this masjid took place, and at that point in time they had secured a show house in the area to start performing the Ramadan Tarawih prayers, and thereafter the following year, subsequent to that, a container was set up in this area where the current wudu khana is based, and that was where the Ramadan Tarawih took place at that point in time. We'll explain to you a little bit more about the development of this masjid as we continue with the show, but first let's have a conversation with Sivan Ghazi, a wonderful South African entertainer, as he explains his take on Ramadan.
Well, my name is Sivan Ghazi. I'm an actor, comedian and TV presenter, and I have produced a lot of work. So I've had the pleasure and the honor and the pleasure to be able to travel the world and get paid for it, have fun on television and actually just be myself. I've been doing it since I was 9 years old. I've been with Les Mis, traveled the world with Les Mis, and I get to just be myself on camera, which is the utter privilege to be able to do that. My relationship with I think even calling it a religion, I always believe it's a way of life. It's a way of living. It's not just a religion. It's bigger than a religion, and I think a lot of people around the world should be able to learn that and realize that. For me, it started because I, as a kid, have always been obsessed with Muhammad Ali. I've always been obsessed. I've always been into boxing. I've always been in sport, and I've always been into it. So as a kid, because of that, I've gotten into it. Then in high school, I dropped Christianity studies. I did Islamic studies in high school, tried to study and learn as much about it. I've been to Turkey, learned a lot about Islam in Turkey. Azerbaijan, I learned a lot there. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and every year I fast, and I'm part of the process of fasting, and I've learned so much about it from all my Muslim friends. So I had a lot of Muslim friends from rugby and the acting industry as well. What I take about fasting with that, I didn't know before. I never felt it in my stomach. I felt it here, and I felt it in my heart. You know, which a lot of people think it's about the food. People always are talking about food and how can you not eat for so long. And for me, it was a spiritual thing. A lot of people need to know that it's not about the food, it's about the spiritual side of it. What I love about the whole process is that it doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're poor. You know that during this process of fasting, we're all one, we're all the same. You know that that person hasn't eaten since this part and vice versa. Another thing I have learned is that when I was fasting, Muslim people from all over the world were inviting me into their homes to come and to break the fast with them, which I think is incredible. So anywhere I went in the world, as soon as someone knew that I was fasting, I was invited into different homes, just to be able to show you that it doesn't matter who you are, as long as we're celebrating the life and the way of living of Islam. I think it's beautiful. And let's be totally honest, you can come break fast even if you're not Muslim to people's houses, you know, and you learn so much, and the family orientation of it. A lot of Muslim families have more than it's extended family as well. So that was very beautiful. I have a few friends of mine who are sheikhs, And so I got to see that process, like a deep, I've gone from friends who are very, 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 very Muslim, like, and then ones who were just like every day. So I've seen a lot of homes and been strangers around the world who are Muslim, so it's beautiful. I think Islam is a beautiful religion. I think I challenge a lot of Muslims to actually go out there and teach people about how beautiful Islam is. It's the same as me as a black person. I've realized that it's not enough for me just to be black. I need to educate people about how it is to be black and the different aspects of being black. You know, my mom always said, a person who's a bad person is just a bad person. It doesn't matter what religion they're part of, they're just a bad person. And I wish more Muslims would go out there and try to teach people about the beauty of Islam and teach them the lessons about why Islam's like this, why Islam's cover their hair, all these little nitty-gritties that we know from Christianity, because we have been brainwashed to know Christianity more than any other religion. It's a beautiful religion. It's not just a religion, it's a way of life.
What a wonderful insight on Ramadan from actor and performer Sivan Gezi. As mentioned, we are at the Masjid al-Jummah, which is in the Phoenix area, close to the Joe Slovo settlement near Milnerton. And as the program unfolds, you'll be finding a little bit more about this mosque. But to tell you and put into the picture as to how the mosque developed initially, we mentioned that a show house was obtained for the performance of Tarawih prayers in Ramadan 1995. On the second night of the Tarawih prayers, an Egyptian by the name of Mohammed approached the committee and offered a certain amount of money for the purchase of land to erect a permanent mosque structure. Thereafter, in the subsequent years, for about 3 years, a container was obtained, and in that container Tarawih prayers was performed for the duration of that period until they started the commencement of the building of a structure which housed the previous mosque structure before this current structure came into being. We're going to find out more about the mosque and its activities from Imam Hassan Welele a little bit later on in the show. But right now we're going to get a perspective from a non-Muslim on Ramadan.
I was lucky to work for a company with a large Muslim workforce, so over the years I've asked a lot of questions and have an understanding as a non-Muslim of what Ramadan stands for, a time of spiritual renewal, of introspection and of helping the poor. And that famous Muslim generosity gets elevated to a completely new level at this time of the year. We know that throughout the world where there are problems, you'll find a Muslim organization helping. I think of Gift of the Givers and someone like Imtiaz Suleiman, who should have a statue erected to him, the amazing work that he's done to help others. But at Ramadan time especially, this is elevated to a new level. I've also been involved with a community radio station during Ramadan, raising funds to help the needy and help the poor at this time of the year. So, to all my Muslim friends and colleagues and associates, I wish you Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem, and well over the fast. Special, special time.
We always get some really interesting perspectives on Ramadan from our non-Muslim guests, and there'll be more coming up in future shows. We're at Masjid al-Jummah here in Milnerton, as mentioned before, and the Imam of the mosque is Imam Hassan Welele, and we'll be chatting to him in a little bit. But according to the notes that I received, in 2004, the Adam family approached a committee member and builder, Sheikh Suleiman Fakir, and proposed to erect a proper masjid on the site. Abu Suleiman then personally contributed his labor to ensure the completion of the mosque in around about 2007. Masjid al-Jummah Milnerton was officially named as this masjid on the 4th of February 2008, and this was done by the Imam of the Haram in Jerusalem, Sheikh Raid Salah. And the name was proposed by the matriarch of the Adam family, Hajja Zubaydah Vali Adam. Right now we take a look at an inspirational message provided by Mr. Abdul Ghani Babu for Blonka, and then we cross to a very interesting event that took place in Manenberg, which was hosted and initiated by Mr. South Africa, Habib Noorbai, and his organization, the Humanitarians.
Most people are actually their own worst enemy. For some reason or other, they feel that they need to harbor a sort of resentment when others achieve things. If you change that and you become proud of people that achieve things, and in fact you encourage people to achieve things, then your whole being on the inside change. And when that changes, everything around you changes. It's like magic. it changes positively, and you find that things happen to you that you would never have actually thought would happen to you. So in that way, you are your worst enemy, or you can be probably your best friend. Resentment is something that affects your entire being because it affects you emotionally. And when you are affected emotionally in a negative way, then that impacts upon your life in the same way that you think about it.
The Humanitarians is a non-profit organization creating a sustainable and innovative society. It was founded in 2013 with focus areas towards 5 main aspects that we see in our communities: sport, health, education, innovation and sustainability. I moved down from Johannesburg to Cape Town at the end of 2011, and for me I wanted to start this heart-driven emporium towards the needs that we need to see within our communities. There's 2 novel aspects that the organization does. Firstly is that we do all of our projects and programs through sustainable means. So we indulge away from toxic charity in the essence where we don't just do handouts, we do something sustainable. And the second thing is that it's measured through research. So we want to test the effectiveness and the impact of what we do in the communities. To be the link between the community of Mehboob and the Humanitarians and the Noakes Foundation to give us feedback on how everyone has done. So that was one of the main reasons for entering Mr. South Africa, is because we had challenges with regards to organization in terms of exposure, in terms of funding, and we were in search of a variety of platforms to improve what we were doing. So it is a volunteer-based organization, and through the Mr. South Africa platform, I'm hoping towards my personal reign is to gather some sort of funding mechanisms or to leverage it to a medium to large-scale non-profit organization so we can do more of these initiatives. So the reason why we're here in Manenberg today is because we are doing a sustainable hamper project, and the main reason for doing this hamper project is because we see that for the last 10 to 15 years the intentions and actions from organizations, although admirable and fantastic, we have to see towards sustainable means. And having a health sciences and sport background, most of those items in terms of juice, rice, in terms of meal, those are not sustainable nor healthy. So what we've done here is that we've done a pilot project to feed healthy, to feed 100 families through healthy, affordable and sustainable means. So examples of these are through tin pilchards, tomatoes, onions, sampan beans, lentils, and we even have something from the Noakes Foundation called Herba Pup. So Herba Pup is your sustainable alternative to mini meal, because our communities usually have pup because it's quite cheap. So we've partnered up with organizations such as Pick and Pay Observatory, Balmoral, the Noakes Foundation and Eat Better South Africa with our organization called the Humanitarians in order to sustain this community. And later on we'll be educating the communities on how they can use these items throughout the month of Ramadan in order for them to be sustained throughout the month. So our approach is not just donate, pack and distribute. Our approach is donate, pack, distribute and educate. So the education aspect is crucial for sustainable projects and programs that we do. So we're going to analyze now with our research focus, how do the members of the community respond to what we have given them? But we'll also come back in a month's time to see, okay, how has this hamper been for you during the month of Ramadan? So because it's a pilot project, we can then scale it up and say, okay, this didn't work, we need to focus on that. This worked well, let's maintain that. So next week, alhamdulillah, we'll be getting, through my Mr. South Africa reign, we'll be getting 20,000 books to Cape Town, and we aim to mobilize community libraries within townships in need within the Western Cape. The sustainability of this project will be headed up with Shine Literacy. So we're getting the books, we're sorting the books in terms of fiction, non-fiction, preschool right up to tertiary education level. Shine Literacy will then come in and assist in teaching people how to read, teaching the kids and the parents how to read. They'll be having parent workshops to teach the kids how to read, reading skills, reasoning skills. So this again is 20,000 books. It's a pilot project, and we're hoping then we will get more than 100,000 books to go to other provinces like the Eastern Cape and other parts of the Western Cape, and then hopefully within a 2-year period venturing out to the rest of South Africa. I mean, in 2013 we only had 2 projects, so we started very small, and fortunately this year we've had about 7 projects in counting. So we are developing, we are improving where we can, and fortunately the Mr. South Africa reign, which is why I entered to leverage the humanitarians, is now increasing in terms of popularity. The humanitarians brand is receiving a lot of credibility in terms of what we're doing, and we hope to go from strength to strength, and we have a lot of goals and visions that we want to take this platform or the humanitarians organization through. It's just a matter of who comes on board to support us, and fortunately we have a lot of willing volunteers that assist us on a daily basis. Everyone who's involved on the humanitarians organization are volunteers, no one gets paid, but we want to shift that model now so that we can improve job creation, skills development, and target the inequality challenge that we have in South Africa. So alhamdulillah, I'm the first Muslim Mr. South Africa. There was a lot of challenges and resistance when I initially entered, specifically from my family members saying you shouldn't be entering because, you know, modeling is not a part of who we are. So fortunately I'm also the first Mr. South Africa to have never taken off my clothes in order to win the competition. So those morals and principles that we have from Islamic Sharia, alhamdulillah, that was maintained before and after my reign as Mr. South Africa. I was even offered an alcohol sponsor. I had to rightfully turn it down. So for me, I was entering Mr. South Africa not for personal limelight, but to leverage a lot of the stuff that we do on the NPO. I've had shows in the past, I've had radio gigs on the past because of the humanitarians and not specifically to the Habib Nurbai brand. So the Mr. South Africa reign has been fantastic at the moment in terms of leveraging networks, context to what we want to do a lot more, and it also, for me, the aim was to try and break that stereotype, you know, of what modeling or pageants are usually are. It's not about a pretty face, it's not about how you model or of your six packs or the muscles that you have. It's about what you do for the community. It's about brawn instead of beauty. It's about heart instead of mindfulness. So those are all of the type of stereotypes that I'm trying to break within the community, is that any person out there under the age of 33 can enter Mr. South Africa, but it's more so what you do for the community, not about what it's in for you. So that's why we're here today, and we hope to inspire a lot of people through healthy and sustainable means, and inshallah we're hoping for the best.
What a wonderful initiative set up by Mr. South Africa, Habib Nurbai, and we wish him well in his reign as Mr. South Africa. This particular masjid, Masjid al-Jummah, what is interesting about it is that in the area there are probably only about 40 Muslim families, but on a Friday for the Jummah prayers there are up to 1,600 people bursting to capacity in this masjid. We're going to find out more about the outreach programs from Imam Hassan Welele in a short while, and he's the resident Imam here at the masjid. But right now we're going to be looking at a global perspective of Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mukarram. Ramadan in Doha is very special. We spent 8 years in Doha, and we spent Ramadan in different cities in the Middle East at different times. Two of the most memorable experiences, I think, for me was during the latter part of our stay in Doha when our children got bigger. We were able to go for Taraweeh. Literally in Doha, every corner there's a masjid. Families build masjids attached to their homes. The masjids are open to the public, so people go there for their daily prayers, and then during Ramadan in the evenings people go for Taraweeh, and every afternoon the masjids are used by Quran teachers to teach small boys from the neighborhood Quran. We would break our fast during Ramadan and have a simple iftar, and after that we would start getting ready to go to the masjid. We didn't walk, even though it was really close. We had to drive there, unless you wanted to be knocked over by a Land Cruiser, because Land Cruiser is the ubiquitous Land Cruiser in Doha, does not stop at stop streets, does not stop for pedestrians. And besides that, it's the middle of summer. Ramadan now is in the middle of summer, and even though the evenings the temperature drops to about 38 degrees, 35 degrees, you would literally be bathed in perspiration if you were to walk even 5 minutes from your house. The masjid, as I mentioned, was a small neighborhood masjid. In the women's section there were only 4 safs. Because of the smallness of the masjid, the voice of the Qari reverberated throughout the masjid. It echoed, and the sounds of the Quran just sort of washed over you and imbued you with that spirit of Islam. After Taraweeh, we would take the kids for a little snack, since it was still early. We only stayed for 8 raka'at. And we would literally go to the local petrol station, because that's where all the shops were. So they would either get an ice cream or McDonald's snack or whatever it was they asked for. We wanted Ramadan to be different. We wanted Ramadan to be a happy time. Then we also made an Umrah in Ramadan last year. MashaAllah, being in Makkah during Ramadan is a completely different experience from being in Makkah at any other time. The masjid, as I mentioned, was a small neighborhood masjid. In the women's section, there were only 4 safs. Because of the smallness of the masjid, the voice of the Qari reverberated throughout the masjid. It echoed, and the sounds of the Quran just sort of washed over you and imbued you with that spirit of Islam. After Taraweeh, we would take the kids for a little snack, since it was still early. We only stayed for 8 raka'at. And we would literally go to the local petrol station, because that's where all the shops were. So they would either get an ice cream or McDonald's snack or whatever it was they asked for. We wanted Ramadan to be different. We wanted Ramadan to be a happy time. Then we also made an Umrah in Ramadan last year. MashaAllah, being in Makkah during Ramadan is a completely different experience from being in Makkah at any other time. And that's the thing about time. In Ramadan, time takes on absolutely no meaning. Day, night, you feel the same way. You are actually timed only by the waqt, awqat, the waqt from one waqt to the next. That is how you would time your day. The one day we actually stayed, we made Fajr, and we stayed in the masjid from Fajr until sunrise. And it was magical. I mean, the word magical, that was what occurred to me. And then also when you make salah on the mataf, you are protected only by angels, I believe. Because after we finished the 7th tawaf, I made salat to Maqam Ibrahim, and yes, you actually put your head down, and you don't actually think about whether somebody's going to trap on your head. You just go ahead and make salah. But nevertheless, I hope everybody has a blessed Ramadan and a happy Eid. Kulla aam wa antum bi khair.
Imam Hassan Walideh, the resident Imam of Masjid Jummah, shukran for taking time to be with us today. We've learnt a lot about the masjid through the show, but tell us, how long have you been the resident Imam?
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. I've been here 11 years basically now.
Okay. 11 years at the masjid, and how did you come to become the Imam here?
Well, quite ironically, I came to help out to be a locum, and yeah, I'm stuck 11 years later.
Alhamdulillah. I'm sure the community are very happy to have you. Now, obviously the masjid is in the Phoenix area, it's close to the Joe Slovo settlement, so yes. It is an area where there's lots of people who are destitute and yes. Obviously disadvantaged communities. There must be quite a bit of outreach program that you're involved with.
Yes, you know, the beauty of the mosque and actually belies the area that we are servicing. There's absolute poverty all around here. So we're serving a wide range of people and areas for that matter. And of course, there's no monies coming from this area because there's no money here. Besides our Fridays, congregational get-together and so forth. So the areas we're covering is Joslovo, Phoenix, Dunoon, Mfuleni, Drift Sands, Tafelsig, Rylands, wherever people call for, but it depends on how much money I can run up, because the onus of getting the money has fallen on me, so I'm running around to get the money. And alhamdulillah, whatever we can get, we have now reduced from meat down to chicken because of prices and things like that, but a various array of services are being provided for these areas as well, not only in the feeding scheme, many other aspects, whether it's emotional support, burial, just giving, and this is regardless We don't discriminate in religion. There are Muslims, non-Muslim, whoever you are. This is what we are doing here at this mosque.
Alhamdulillah, that's wonderful. A message for the last 10 days of Ramadan. In fact, we're close to the end of Ramadan right now with this particular episode 8 of our show.
Yes.
As we approach Eid as well, just a thought from your side.
Well, a thought here is generosity is huge in Islam. You know, to be a person that is generous, it's so important, because to be of servitude to humanity is so important. Because there's a saying in Urdu, यही है इबादत, यही है दीन और ईमान के काम आए दुनिया में इंसान के इंसान. Allama Iqbal from Pakistan. He says, this is deen, this is religion, this is faith, and this is a way of life. That what we have come here for is to uplift humanity. And we try to strive, I try to strive to improve myself and those around me as much as we can, with whatever resources we have.
Shukran for your time, Imam, and for having us here at Masjid Jummah. We wish you everything of the best, inshallah. Imam Hassan Waladeh, the resident Imam, and we've been here at Masjid Jummah in the Phoenix area. As we end off our show today, we're going to be ending off with another beautiful spiritual melody, and we look forward to hosting you again on episode 9 tomorrow. Inshallah, wish you everything of the best for the remaining days of Ramadan. Remember to cherish every moment in the company of the special people in your life. Let them know as often as you can that they are important to you and that you love them dearly. I wish you peace and blessings.
صلوا عليه شافع الأمة بذكر الرسول تشحذ الهمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح الغمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح الغمة صلوا عليه شافع الأمة بذكر الرسول تشحذ الهمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح الغمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح الغمة صلوا عليه شافي الأمة بذكر الرسول تشحذ الهمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح الغمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح الغمة على الهادي البشير حبيب البدر المنير شفيعي عند القدير صلوا عليه صلوا بأحلى الكلام صلوا على بدر التمام رسول خير الأنام صلوا عليه شافي الأمة بذكر الرسول تشحذ الهمة يا ربي بجاه النبي أزح غمة